The Digital Circles Podcast, giving a voice to Northern Ireland's business network. Brought to you by Private Label People. With your host, Paul Mooney.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Circle Back Show. As ever, I'm your host, Paul Mooney. I've got Michael Elliott and Robert Rickey.
Hello.
If you want to know more about us, have a look on our website and it's in the About Us section. You can bore yourself to tears there for 5 minutes. And we had a guest in last week with his father-son combination, and they are Lee Opticians, who have branches in Crossmaglen, Camlock. I always thought it was Camlock, though I think he pronounced it Camlo.
I was going to say it was...
Camla, sorry.
Camla. I think we would say Camlock from Belfast, but I think the local accent is Camla.
Yeah. People from Belfast get called funny names down there, don't they? Townies. And Warren Point was their other branch. So 3 good branches, all doing very, very well, and they've been going some time. And they spoke to us a little bit about how they got involved in optometry, which I struggle to say. Don't know if you noticed on the podcast when I was interviewing them, I couldn't say it either. But yeah, I thought they've done really well. The business is going really well, and it's something that a lot of people require is vision correction or some sort of help with their eyesight deficiencies. So we're seeing lots more people getting laser eye surgery, things like that. But you guys were listening, and did you learn anything new?
Yeah, I learned quite a lot actually. It's one of those ones where it's actually a very interesting subject, even though I've got no major interest in it. But you know, whenever they're going into a lot of detail, even whenever you'd mentioned about, you know, it's you go and you see. I've now got optometrist in my mind, but you go and see the optician, and he was talking about, well, yes and no. You know, it's like we would all, the general public would say we go and see the optician, but he was going through all the different naming conventions, I suppose you would call it, of people who are not just in terms of the eyes, but also the making of the glasses, and then on further as well. And I think it's one of those things, as you mentioned, Paul, about sort of laser eye surgery, but it seems that there's more and more depth to it, almost like you're peeling back the layers of the onion. And whenever, I don't know whether it was Jack or his
Michael,
his son. Have I got that right?
No, Michael's a dad.
Michael's a dad,
yeah,
Jack's a son, sorry. And they were talking, which I thought was a really good way of putting it, was like sun cream for the eyes. I thought that was a clever way to deem something that they've seen because of their expertise. And I think certainly, well, it's one of those things, you only get one set of eyes, so it's important to look after them.
We both, I think, at the time there found out about this new type of treatment that they do, the night lenses.
Blew my mind.
I know, it was pretty impressive stuff. I mean, I don't wear glasses. I'm not invested in how to look after eyes overly at this point in time. But then when I went home and I was telling my girlfriend about it, and she was like, her mind was blown by the lenses. And the one thing that actually stood out to me was that these things had the capacity to slow the degeneration of a degenerative condition over time, which I thought was pretty special.
Certainly the night goggles, I thought the only night goggles were like in Call of Duty or something like that, so it was definitely news to me as well.
I can rule Mike out on those anyway, because you need 7 hours sleep a night.
Yeah.
And he's getting about 5 at the minute.
I would say
accurate,
him and his girlfriend can actually share a pair then.
Yeah, you require 7 hours of sleep a night. Just to put that in context, Mike's got a very young child, so that's a target, but not always met.
Yeah, tricky to look at this morning, I imagine, to be honest.
I'm sure people who are listening and have had children who maybe aren't the greatest of sleepers can sympathise with you on that one. But yes, the night lenses, it did really shock me, I have to say. I honestly thought it was an April Fool when I seen it on their Instagram. I looked at the date and everything. I was like, oh, this is an April Fool. I hadn't heard of it.
Well, I think one of the things that they really are experts in their field, which is fantastic, and we'll go into a little bit of that in a second. But it's becoming more and more of a thing where you're able to take one very standard thing of wearing glasses, and it's like wearing glasses was to correct your vision, but it's a whole lot deeper than that. And even, the likes of, say, blue blockers now, which would have been like glasses for screens, well, they're evolving that all the time. So I guess you'd sort of look at it and go, well, why would it not be? Like, why would you not have something that helps you in a dark environment rather than a light environment? It kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I wear glasses, obviously. I've just got used to wearing them. I went through a phase when I was a kid where I just refused to wear glasses. I didn't want to look like a wee nerd in the classroom. But I succeeded with that anyway, and I did look like one even without the glasses. So I actually asked Michael, is that a thing? Because there is that.
What, nerdiness?
Well, it's definitely a thing. What I asked him, that theory that if you don't wear them, then,
oh yeah,
well, actually, the more you wear them, the more reliant you get on them, and he agrees up to a point that is the case. Yeah, it's you do become really reliant on them. I notice that if I don't put them on in the morning, and maybe like an hour later I forget that I haven't put them on, you sort of realise, I haven't got my glasses on, but actually you've been not too bad. But if I get up in the morning, I put them on and I say leave them down, I've been wearing them for an hour and I leave them down for as soon as I leave them down, I'm going, God, I need my glasses. I can't see properly.
I think it's partly because I think in society we always try and sort of make it homogenized, where it's like everybody who wears glasses is exactly the same. That's not the case. I would say, and I'm not an expert, and the guys would probably back this up, is like there are some people who need their glasses all day long, whereas there's other people who need them for driving, let's say, or in school looking at what the teachers put up on the board, something along those lines. But I think at times, if the person who doesn't need them all day starts wearing them all day, well then maybe that's where it's going down. Whereas if the person does need them all day, doesn't wear them all day, that's not going to help. So I think it's every single one to their merit should be wearing them when they're supposed to wear them.
Mm-hmm. I could tell you a funny story about somebody I know who is notoriously stingy. You'll know very quickly who I'm talking about here. He's my dad, and he's blind in one eye, right? So he wears glasses, but he started wearing contact lenses. This is years ago, and he was wearing the dailies. Mm-hmm. So he only needed one, really, because he's blind in one eye.
I know where this is going.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah. And he was buying daily contact lenses, but I turned around to him because he was putting them in the saline solution, and I was going, Dad, are they not dailies? You're supposed to throw them out. He was like, no, I get 2 weeks out of one of them if I put it in the saline solution. What? Are you for real? Aye, yeah, save you money, that. You only need one for a start. So, like, if you buy them in like a monthly amount, those daily contact lenses, so it'll get you 30 days, obviously, 31 days, whatever. He's getting
the guts of a year.
Here's an interesting point.
Yeah, he's an entrepreneur, isn't he?
He tell you, he's definitely he's taking that profit and loss and saying expenses. I can cut those in half. I'll just gouge out one of my eyes and I'm already taking down the expenses. But this is what was going through my mind. I'm clearly deranged. I was going, yeah, but can you wear the left one in the right eye?
That's what I was thinking too. Which
actually, are they not a slightly different shape?
In the beginning, I was kind of thinking, your dad's kind of onto something here. Like, this is a pretty good life hack.
I never got too much into detail with them because it was just too scunnered to use a Northern Ireland colloquialism.
If your dad ever got talking to a parrot with one leg, you'd probably see that parrot going around with a right shoe on sometimes and then a left shoe. What was save you money on that?
What was the crack of that? Why did parrots only have one leg on one eye?
I don't think it was like a fashion or something. No. I think like they lost like eyes and legs. Like it wasn't like a choice.
But it was generally. I thought it was for symmetry.
So one side blind,
the
one
other
side
amputate.
Wow.
An interesting fact as well. They wore an earring, right? You know, the general guy had an eye patch, a wooden leg, and an earring. But the earring was actually to bury them.
Huh?
So if they ever washed up ashore, dead, right? That there would be an earring there that the person that found them could take as the bounty.
Is that right?
Something to do with that. Don't quote it word for word, but it's
That's
something
good.
to do with that.
That's good. I wonder what I could wear if I wind up dead on a beach somewhere that people would go, oh, well, that'll pay for his funeral.
I would bring the whole thing with you.
I'll get a waterproof Rolex.
Waterproof.
Yeah, wallet, yeah.
Well,
I
it'll
suppose.
do.
I would go with a credit card with a PIN number etched into it.
I know somebody else that did that too. Away on a foreign holiday, wrote their PIN number in a wee notebook in their bag with their credit card and promptly
Yeah, that
was
didn't end well.
emptied.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, clever stuff. Just on eyesight, you know the way I like to go and find out some random facts?
Yes.
Well, owls can't move their eyes as they don't have eyeballs. You know the way they turn their necks?
Owls
Owls.
don't have eyeballs.
Well, they don't have an eyeball that moves, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
They have
okay,
pupils or something like that, but they have to move that's why their necks move.
So there's no balls
Wow.
or rings in their eyes
Yeah.
to make them move around. That's quite interesting.
Exactly.
So they've got fixed eyesight,
I mean,
which then their neck has to move.
I'm going to be honest with you, Paul. I'm doubting you on this.
Well, here, ask Travis.
Huh?
Get Travis to look it up now. Travis,
Okay.
look that up. He'll take a wee minute. He's not the quickest.
He has only got one leg, like, so
Hard would I? He's got the earring.
his earrings class, like.
If one of our eyes was a digital camera, it would have 576 megapixels. Some of the best cameras have 50.
Yeah.
Shows you the power of your eyes, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, back in the day, whenever they were shooting everything on film, the clarity of the images was arguably better than digital imagery now. So, we're still catching up with what was always better in the first place, in one area at least.
What happens whenever that goes beyond? So what happens whenever, let's say, digital cameras go above 576 megapixels?
That's frightening.
Because will
End up
we
with cameras for eyes.
yeah, it's like, will we be able to actually see the improvement? Now, there's a paradox for you.
Yeah. I guess it'll just be for like bigger prints.
So they're shooting at 1,000 megapixels, but we can't actually see it.
There'll be some file size on that, like.
That'll
They-
be the end of VR headsets too.
Okay, Travis is back with some dates on owls.
Thanks, Travis.
Owls' eyes. Well, owls don't have eyeballs; they have eye tubes or cylinders. So you're right. There you go.
Where do they buy the eye tubes?
Lee's Opticians.
Jessup's.
The first glasses were worn in 1284 by one of my Italian heritage people, Salvino de Armate.
I thought you were going to say Salvatore Dali there.
He just had a wee funny mustache.
I was going to say I was in a little exhibition of his the other day.
Oh,
Big
Salvatore Dali.
Big Salvatore.
Interesting.
In Dubrovnik.
Oh,
Yes, I always thought dogs were colourblind, like they only seen black and white. But that's not true, apparently.
okay.
They wouldn't make very good drivers because they can't tell the difference between red and green. They can only see blue, yellow, and shades of grey.
All right.
I knew about the red and green thing, but I didn't know the additional bit.
I just thought they were black and white. I didn't realise.
Yeah.
People would always just say, no, dogs can't see the colour. They only see black
So
and
they
white.
can only see red or green. Is that what you're saying?
No, they can't see.
They can't see red or green.
They can't tell the difference between red and green. They can only make out blue, yellow, and shades of grey. I have colour blindness. And
You've just potted another green. Could you stop doing that?
But that is one thing that I would struggle with now is I would have potted a brown on a snooker table and my mates would have been going, what are you doing? I go, what? And this was before you probably had an eye vision test sort of thing. So
Oh, did you not know at the time?
I didn't know at that time. I was really young, I think. But then once I had the test, I remember after playing it and going, now that makes sense.
Let's face it, we're all winners. For your chance to win fantastic prizes from our rolling monthly competition, just head on over to digitalcircles.click/give or follow the link in the description.
Speaking of needing to get your eyes tested, do either of you believe in ghosts?
But put it this way, I wouldn't want to say that I don't believe in ghosts, but I'm not like a ghost guy. Like I'm not like
Derek Akora?
Yeah. But like at the same time, I suppose everyone's sort of got a wee bit of belief in something that they can't see or hear or understand. You know?
Yeah, I'd go along with Mike on that. It's the ghosts, as in the perception of what a ghost is, probably not, but spiritualism, yeah, there's something there, I would say.
Have you ever had anything, like any sort of spiritual interaction?
Nothing that didn't involve like hefty amounts of Smirnoff.
There was this ghost called Vladivar.
Vladivar.
I haven't either. A wee bit.
This ghost called Glens.
The spirit of the Glens.
Winemark own brand ghost.
I'm a bit disappointed that I haven't. You should be careful what you wish for. My mum and dad both are adamant that they had in a house we lived in East Belfast. Mum was convinced there was a ghost touching her on the shoulder in the kitchen a lot of the times during the day, and she would have turned around thinking it was like my dad, and it wasn't. He wasn't there. And then my dad woke up one night and there was a lady standing in the corner of the room in a very scary sort of episode where he couldn't speak. He completely went into like couldn't get any words out. I would find that that'd be a bit weird.
Yeah, that would be a bit creepy, and I guess that would sort of, I think if you did have something like that, it would certainly emphasise your belief in it. I mean, I'd say your dad and your mum definitely believe in something along those lines, whereas if you haven't had the experience, maybe you diminish it a little bit. But isn't that it's pretty true about everything, isn't it?
Maybe you just need to be very open-minded. Maybe we're closed off. I don't know. But here, I forgot there was another eyesight fact.
Okay, hit us.
What has the best eyesight in the animal kingdom?
It's gonna be something that is largely nocturnal, I reckon.
Yourself?
Yeah. I wonder what
Well, you're going in tech on this one.
what is the opposite of nocturnal? I would say it's probably a bird of prey.
Well done.
Oh.
An eagle, it can focus on its prey from 2 miles away.
That is pretty good.
Isn't it? That's
Have you ever, you were going to say there, have you ever seen a ghost? Have you ever seen an eagle or like a bird of prey?
Like a small, you see wee small ones around the north here, like?
Well, I saw more of an adult or a bigger eagle or a hawk. I'm not exactly too sure what it was, but my God, was it elegant. It was down in Lough Erne, and it just swooped in, almost like a fighter jet, and that massive wingspan. And this would have been probably 500 metres away, maybe a wee bit further, but it was unbelievable to watch. Whenever you see them, and they're just everything about them, it just looks so. There's definitely something different about it whenever you see them flying, whenever you see their movement, their patterns. It's incredible.
They are impressive. Golden eagles, probably my favourite thing, I have to say, in the animal kingdom. I think they're amazing. I was in the walled garden in Bangor recently, and a guy had some birds of prey down, and he had a golden eagle, and I was like a child in a tuck shop. I was like, oh my God, is that a golden eagle? That's a golden eagle. Can I go? I got to see a golden eagle. Can I get a photo of the golden eagle? And this thing was massive, but so impressive.
Yeah.
Just even how they hold themselves, they just, they've status. That is proper status.
Yeah, it really is. And I think there's been quite a lot done in the last number of years, and I think that has to continue. The likes of being able to have preservation, because once we're talking about your eyesight, but it's like once they go, that it's gone. So it's like it's very, very important because I don't know the numbers, but the numbers aren't great of them out in the wild. Like,
it's crazy too, because those guys that bring them to like those events, they just put them on a little sort of a plinth and basically go, right, you stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was actually a kid.
That's actually the entirety of the training those birds receive. Right, you stay there. All right, mate.
It's like, you do realise that I'm a bird of prey.
You do realise that there's a kid in a park 2 miles away eating a cheeseburger and I can see it.
Yeah. And you do realise that I could lift that child. Forget about the cheeseburger.
Take him on his holidays. Yeah, no, they're so impressive. Oh, I love them. I've never held one. I need to book one of those things. I think there is a guy locally you can go to, and you.
Oh, that'd be yes.
The land.
Be quite frightening, wouldn't it?
It would be, aye.
You know, but again, it's sort of. I guess it takes you right back. It's kind of like if you were standing there with a golden eagle on your hand or your wrist, you'd feel, even though you'd feel quite afraid, you'd feel pretty powerful, wouldn't you? It's very sort of gladiatorial.
Yeah. They used to do that back in the old medieval days, didn't they? Like the big lads.
Yeah.
Would have had a bird of prey sort of as a sign of
thing,
stature, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, they used birds a lot then, didn't they? For like sending messages and then, I guess, maybe in battle, I guess, or something.
I know on Planet of the Apes they did it as well.
Yeah. Well, growing up in Ballygan, there wasn't much option for that.
That is Planet of the Apes.
It's staying in, but by the skin of your teeth.
It's only 2 miles away. You might get a bird of prey arriving here. Yeah, I'm saying nothing on that one. A pigeon would have been my status. I've got a pigeon here. Yeah, the things that the guys are doing in Lee Opticians actually it's quite cutting edge in some ways. So I think they would, as much as they get a good reputation in their local area, actually outside of that, they're getting people talking a wee bit with the things that they're offering, which is great to see in any business. That
was definitely something that really struck with me was, well, number one, at how deep they've gone into their own subject. Right? Like they're not on a par with anybody in terms of their knowledge, their expertise, how deep they've gone into all the different services that they offer. And for me, that's something that a lot of people should do. Try and stand out, because there are big national, international companies in that field. I'm not going to mention their name, but we all know who we're talking about. And they have a massive reach, right? And they have media advertising, they have all those different things. This company has a slogan that a lot of people say. And you could look at that as that's your competition. But what Lee's have done is they've just said, you move over there. You take that. You take all that general business. And what we'll do is we'll focus in here on the real, I wouldn't even say premium, but like platinum end of things. And then, as you said, going with their number of branches, because it's local, they've branched out a little bit in their own local area. But I think what they could do is potentially branch out a little bit further digitally, because people will travel for that. It's not like you get your eyes tested every week, right? It's like, I don't know, you tell me, Paul, but once every 2 years. That sound about right?
Yeah.
So it's like you would travel to Fermanagh to get that done once every 2 years. You'd certainly travel to the Newry area. You'd travel to the North Coast. You'd travel to those things to get the right service.
If I'm understanding you right, I guess what you're saying is like with those larger companies, what you can tend to lose is that personal trust, I guess, and that's worth something. In fact, it's worth quite a lot.
Yeah, and what you're getting there is I used the word homogenized earlier on, but you're getting a very homogenized service, right? Exactly the same as everybody else. I'm not saying you're going to be treated badly, but you're not going to be treated like a customer. You're going to be treated like a number, right? Regardless of who runs that particular franchise. Whereas I feel if you go to the likes of Lee's, you are going to be treated like a customer. You're going to be looked after. You're going to get, dare I say, a better service, right? Because of their expertise and because they're treating you that little bit better. And I think what the likes of Lee's can do is digitally reach out further away from, let's call it South Down, right? or South County down, reach out a little bit further digitally, because people will be prepared to travel, and try and build up that education. Putting education out to the rest of the country, that's going to help them. So featuring on a podcast and talking very in-depthly about their business and their service, being on some of the other social channels, maybe even some of the video social channels, reaching out via email and different things. And dare I say it, kind of for all types of businesses, find out where your customer exists, right? So where do people with specs hang out, right? Is there a spectacles convention somewhere?
Yes,
and
there
going?
is,
Yes, I knew it. I knew it. Yous are all hanging about with ghosts and pirates.
Do you not go to SpeckyCon?
It just hasn't been advertised to me. But trying to focus on where people are or where do they interact, right? It's like that can be something, and I am using that as an example. Or is there something that they purchase which is a complementary product, right? So things like that, which would allow. I'm trying to make this more generic rather than very specific to Lee's. But try and find the areas, try and find the products that your key consumer uses. It's like if somebody has 20/20 vision, there's not much point in Lee's kind of advertising to them unless they've got another service like the sun cream for eyes, where they can educate people like ourselves who don't wear glasses. It's like, no, I know you don't, but you should also potentially use this once a week to help not have to wear glasses or whatever,
Yeah, the thing that he was talking about with kids, I thought was quite enlightening, the amount of myopic issues that they're seeing in young people now and children coming in. And
That's sad, to be honest.
yeah, it really is.
It has to be screens, doesn't it?
It has to be.
I mean,
I can't think of why else.
The amount of times now that you see kids in front of a screen, either an iPad or a phone, I mean, it was just not the thing. And surely how young their eyes are. Obviously, their eyes are as young as they are, but they're being planted in front of that screen, and it's quite a number of hours, some more than others.
Well, even just on a very one very base premise, if kids are spending, X amount percentage of their time focusing on something nearer rather than far than they used to, it's bound to have an impact, doesn't it?
Well, whenever we were kids, it was like, don't sit too close to the television. That was always a thing.
Yeah.
And if you watch the TV,
you get square eyes.
Yeah, you get square eyes. Yeah. And it's like, and that was only maybe, I don't know, a couple of hours a day, maybe at most. And now I think those numbers, I don't have them in front of me. Maybe I have to get Travis to get those numbers, but those numbers must be way up.
Yeah. Oh, no, there will be.
And the screen is close, always close.
Yeah, and Michael was taught, I think he does an eye stress clinic. And when you think about the stress on your eyes nowadays with laptops and computers and phones and watching the television, tablets, all that stuff, like, your eyes are just constantly concentrating and working. So you can
I think too,
understand that.
it's like the likes of where he's got to do very much a one-to-one consultation quite a lot of the time. There could be something where he could take that consultation out one-to-many, because it's the educational point. So if there's an element of that, what did you call it, eye stress or
eye stress?
Eye stress. Is there a way that he can deliver a clinic, not so much about the one-to-one, but more one-to-many? So a lot of people come on to an online Google Meet, something like that, and they talk about it. They actually educate you into what to look out for, what you should be doing, the number of hours that your eyes are able to take a phone screen, or how far away to hold the phone, etc., etc.
Well, according to
Travis is back, mate.
Travis is back in time, and according to that larger optician group, in the UK, children aged between 5 and 16 years spend an average of 2 to 3 hours per day watching TV, 1 to 3 hours on the internet, 1 to 2 hours playing video games, and over an hour on mobile phones. not talking, a total of 6.3 hours of screen time per day, which is
It's heavy.
a bit gross.
That has to be a hell of a lot higher than what it used to be.
Yeah.
I can't imagine 6 hours, because that would have been, like, back at that time, that would have been from when you got out of school to when you went to bed. Constant. So therefore, it is that thing of kids will eat and watch phones.
Yeah.
And there has to be some phone use then in school, or screen time in school. It's quite crazy.
It really is.
The last time we did the circle back, we did a little section on towns
Oh, yes.
that follow in alphabetical order.
Oh, no. It's B for Ballygan, is it?
I was hoping to get something that might last a bit longer. As a teacher in school once said to me, Mooney, all you know about is what goes on at Ballygan roundabout.
I was going to say the roundabout's good.
Yeah, well, I know a lad from Cumber who didn't know where Ballygan was. Now, what does that say about, well, that individual and B, Ballygan? But
I probably couldn't tell you really where it is either, to be honest.
but he's literally from 3 miles away.
Okay, fair enough.
I remember saying, he said, where do you live? And I said, near Ballygan. He
Was
like,
he-
Where's Ballygan?
Was he a golden eagle by any chance? Because they can only see 2 miles.
It was just outside of his range, thankfully for everybody in Ballygan. But no, it's not going to be Ballygan. Sorry, people from Ballygan. If you have internet there and you're listening, apologies. We'll fit you in next time. I just went, well, Armagh's a city, so I thought, well, I'll go for a big one. And it's my mum's hometown, so Ballymena. Hi.
Nice.
And you can't say Ballymena without the hey now, thanks to that television advert in the 90s.
It was a big shopping centre and
Ballymena, huh?
yeah.
Tower Centre, wasn't it?
No,
Fair. Oh, Jesus, starting a shopping centre war.
Don't you mention Tar Centre to me, man?
Ramming each other with their trolleys. Yeah, so the funny thing about Ballymena, there's a lot of sayings from that part of the world that crack me up. Will you face my mate?
Right.
I think I can figure that one out.
Yeah. See my mate, basically, would you go with my
Shift.
mate? Yeah.
That's the other one, isn't it?
Oh, jeez.
Shift. That's what to say down south.
Here, what time of the night is it? Are we allowed to say that?
Oh! It's all getting a bit saucy.
All right, Sham.
All right, Sham.
That means all right, mate.
Sham.
Sham, because if somebody's your sham, it's your mate, apparently. Famous for a few things. The Flamingo Ballroom, which is actually where my mum and dad met.
Oh.
Was
Dance
famous,
hall, was it, or
yeah,
like
famous
a-
dance hall back in the day. The Rolling Stones actually played there.
Wow.
There you go.
The actual Rolling Stones.
Yes, not the Rolling Moans. The Rolling Stones actually played in the Flamingo Ballroom.
Whereabouts in Ballymena was that?
I think the building is still there, and it's now a tanning salon or something. I can't even remember what it is. But it's something very different. But I'm not sure. I think pretty central. My dad would have talked about going to it back in the day. It would have been the place to go.
It was on the main drag.
Yeah. He would have also went to a dance in Ballyclare. He would have talked about. He said you would have always had a good dust up outside after it.
That was like an away day for Ballymenans.
Yeah. Back then, that must have been like the other side of the world.
What is the collective noun for people from Ballymena? Yeah.
Ballamenians?
I was going to say Ballymenians.
Ballamunions?
Yeah.
Jesus.
We need to reach out and find out what that is.
There's a massive rivalry between Ballymena and Ballymoney, you know. I didn't realise this. Oh, I was talking to somebody from Ballymena.
Right.
They don't get on.
Okay, what's the beef?
It just
Must be to do with the Bally. You know, that
it's our Bally, it's not yours.
Aye.
I don't know how deep it goes. I don't know if there was a war back in the carriageway in 1975 or anything, but there's beef there, and they share a lot of the same sayings, but they sort of take the mick out of one another. But famous people from Ballymena, I'm sure you must know.
Jackie Fullerton.
Brilliant. I was thinking of one of the most famous actors in the world, but it wasn't Jackie Fuller.
Is Jackie from Ballymena?
Jacky's an absolute legend.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson, yes.
He is from I can't remember the little townland.
Right, okay. I just knew he was from Ballymena. My mum knew his family, but
It's not
I think
Cullybacky, I know
that. No. I think everybody in Ballymena knows Liam Neeson's family or claim they do. It's one of those ones. Such and such went to school with him or whatever. But yes, Liam, Jackie was second on my list. I've had the pleasure of accompanying Jackie a few times. The man is an absolute hoot. He's a hoot.
He is also a legend. Like, I had the pleasure of sitting beside him at a Cardiff Frampton fight, and him and his wife. It was just tremendous. I can't explain it how good it was.
I have a number of stories, but I'll not tell most of them.
So what exactly was meant by accompanying?
Yeah, I sort of fell into his company one night actually at a thing. It was a Q&A thing with Cardiff Frampton.
There's a running theme here. If you want to find Jackie Fullerton, find Cardiff Frampton first.
Frampton, yeah.
I didn't go to the fight with Jackie, by the way. I just happened to be sitting beside him.
My dad actually used to fit the carpet in Havelock House in UTV. Whenever they needed carpet done, he would have been the man that through the contractor, and he would have went in. But I remember meeting Jackie, and I was only a kid, and I was starstruck. It was Jackie Fullerton, and he was doing the highlights for the football in this room, and he brought me in, and I got to meet people and got to watch him put all the highlights together and all. Loved him.
He was absolutely brilliant at the commentator's curse. Like, the amount of times, the commentator's curse is, they'll say something that has not yet happened, and then it will happen. And he would have been commentating on the Northern Ireland games back in the day, and maybe Northern Ireland were winning 1-0, and he would have said, "Oh, the Portuguese can't score. They don't look like they're going to score this evening." And 10 seconds later, it would be 1 each. He was dreadful at it. Yeah. Just don't say it, Jackie.
He was my favourite memory of him is he's still with us, by the way. But he was doing.
He's an avid listener of the show.
He was doing commentary in Limavady of all places. Glentoran were playing an Irish Cup game, and I went to watch it, and he was up on top of one of these bits of scaffolding. Limavady's ground wouldn't be...
It's not the San Siro.
No, definitely not. And he's on this bit of scaffolding doing this commentary, and it was a horrible old winter's day, and we're walking out at the end, and he's doing this sort of segment for BBC or whatever it was, and, and somebody shouted, "Jackie!" And he turned around and waved, and the guy went, "Who knits your hair, Jackie?" Who knits your hair?
He's got a fantastic mane. Like,
he really does.
He does.
It's well knitted.
Actually, if you see any footage, sorry to butt in, but if you see any footage of him back in the day, he was a right player. Like,
I think he played fullback for Ballymena. Decent footballer.
A hanky winger at times as well.
Yeah. Yes, great man. Probably the best of the Ballymena celebrities, I have to say. Liam Neeson, obviously, fantastic actor. We could talk more about that, but there's a few I didn't know. Jerry Kelly of Right Sofa Land, Jerry Kelly Show fame, was actually born in Ballymena.
Uh-huh.
I know he lives in Ardglass, I know he plays golf at Ardglass Golf Club, but I think he lives down that neck of the woods. But he was born in Ballymena, apparently.
Yeah, he does. He lives right on the golf course, doesn't he?
I think so.
At Ardglass.
I think so. Great golf course, actually.
Is it the first Ardglass?
Is it the one with like a cliff face, sort of?
Yeah.
My mate can't play it. He's got vertigo.
Yeah, no,
He walks away from it.
It's insane. You just look at it and go, all right, it's going to be one of those days.
Yeah.
Jerry Kelly's probably right.
Yeah. Jimmy Nesbitt, who Coleraine claim was actually born in Ballymena, I'm told.
Oh, no, that's where the beef starts, like. And
yeah, what's a different beef?
And what's in between Ballymena and Coleraine?
That wee town called Ballymena.
Ballymena. You see, this is all starting to play out here.
It's starting to make sense, isn't it?
Don't forget, for your chance to win fantastic prizes from our rolling monthly competition, just head on over to digitalcircles.click/give or follow the link in the description.
Well, there's one that will split opinion even more. I spoke a bit like that there. Mr. Paisley. But he was actually... But everybody thinks he's from Ballymena. He was born in Armagh. So we didn't mention that last week.
There's a good connector between the
There we
two.
go.
Mike is just in his head going, will I leave that in? Is that so controversial that I can leave any in Paisley?
I know. But listen, there's nothing wrong with having it in. I just didn't know what to say.
I had never known that he was actually from Armagh.
Oh, I've an update here from Travis, Jimmy Nesbitt. Brashane, if you want to be precise.
Brashane.
I wonder how they all fit. They get sort of grouped together, those wee places, Cullybacky, Brashane, Galgorm. They all get sort of grouped together under the Ballymena thing. But do you think they not get a wee bit?
I think it would be like the, Catalonia, and the Canary Islands. They want their independence.
Autonomy.
Yeah, definitely want autonomy away from the Ballymena town. The council, they want their own parliament in Brashane.
Well, I had many a good time. Ballymena, my grandparents were from there, my mum was from there, so I spent some time up there. And the words used to make me really wrinkle when I was a kid. A hog hill. A hockle. Used to drive past a hog hill and think it was a hog hill, which used to be very funny.
Well, what is a hockle? My mum always used to say
It's a wee
hockle.
town.
Okay.
Well,
Do you think
more
it
like a
was
wee
like
village.
a wee animal lived in the bushes? Or?
I had no idea. I just agreed, nod and smile. That's
Hockle.
a hockle.
A hockle.
Great.
Aye, a hockle. What's a crash in Ballymena?
A creche? Is it where plants are?
No, it's where two cars collide.
That's brilliant. That's your best joke in a long time. You reeled me in there. I was going, well, it's obviously not to do with kids. Plants.
The next two, my granddad used to say, and it used to make me laugh. Hot ale. Used to,
Oh, where you would stay overnight.
yeah, used to go and stay in a big hot ale.
Ah, for goodness sake.
And a pugget. He had a wee pugget. It's a Peugeot.
Dog?
Peugeot.
Oh, yeah.
Is it Peugeot or Peugeot? I think the French say Peugeot.
Peugeot.
Is it?
I think so.
In the adverts, do they not say Peugeot?
They probably do, actually, don't they?
French people, strange. Any listeners there? Sorry.
It's all right, only from Ballygowan. French people from Ballygowan. Le roundabout.
Imagine being from France and ended up in Ballygowan.
Yeah, that'd be a cultural shock to the system, wouldn't it?
That would be like the time they put Napoleon out in that island. They confiscated him to that island, told him he wasn't allowed back. Can't remember the name of the island. He had to live there and see out his days.
Just like that.
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember when we took Napoleon? Do you remember when the British took Napoleon and threw him out to that island in the middle of the Atlantic? Yeah. I think it was the Atlantic.
Was it
No.
Saint something?
St. Teresa's.
I think
No,
it was
get Travis to look that one up.
Saint.
What's passion in Ballymena?
It is for, like, if the rain is passion
It's
down.
very heavy. Yeah.
Snogging, I think.
Passion. My mum used to say this one, how you're wished.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
quiet.
Famous one, yeah. A pockle, not a hockle, but if somebody's a pockle, okay, he's a big pockle. He's a pockle one boy.
Bit of a mess type of thing.
Couch potato, basically.
Oh, couch potato, right?
My cousin was telling me this one a while ago. When you go into a shop in Ballymena and you're paying for something with a card, they always say, put your wee card in and then take your wee card out.
They do like to,
It's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing here. Put your wee card in there and then take your wee card out.
yeah, it's like,
That one's really tickled you, hasn't it?
I like it. I think it's class. You sort of go, right, she's going to say, and then she says it, and then you go, right up. Okay, well, just to wrap it up, local businesses, and who would like to commence?
well, actually, in a weird one, I'm going to give a big shout out to a local business of businesses, and I had the pleasure of being down in Downpatrick Business Centre, or Down Business Centre, the other day, chatting to a number of local entrepreneurs about e-commerce and online, all things online. But I think what I wanted to say was that these enterprise centres, business centres, all across the country, they are providing a great service for smaller, younger, and by younger I mean, just recently started up businesses, to give them an outlet, to give them an area to go to learn a little bit, or to sit in on a conference. So I'd just like to give a big shout out to them. I think they're doing an invaluable job, and if you are listening and you've got a small business or a young business, seek out your local one and see what assistance is there. It's not always about grants and this, that, and the other. Sometimes it can be about courses, it can be about networking events, it can be about information, about education. So do definitely go and seek them out.
I'd second that. I'd say, I at one time or another got the advantage of interacting with them, and I got a lot out of it, actually. My local business is somewhat more of a shout out than anything, because it's not new. It's very much like an established one that's been around for a long time. We were at a screening for a local film in the Strand Cinema, and we were told just before the screening that lovely upper theatre, which I'm sure we've all been in, it's like a cavern of some sort, gorgeous thing. But that was the last screening that was going to happen in that before they do the refurb on it. So just, I guess, a shout out to the Strand Cinema in the form that it's always been in before it changes, because it's really been a rather nice place to go.
Yeah, and they've done a lot of different stuff. Again, a little bit like we're talking about with Lee's. They're not trying to compete with the big monopoly owners of the latest movie that's out there. They're trying to do something different, which is absolutely brilliant. But also to bring in one of Paul's Ballymena words, there was probably a brave bit of curtain done in the Strand Cinema.
I can vouch for that, to be honest.
Facing everything. Oh. Go ahead, player.
Oh.
Yeah, it's part of the establishment, the Strands. It's fantastic that we kept the cinema like that, and because so many of those cinemas back in the day were just bulldozed or closed down, and they're now something else. Remember the Curzon on the Ormer Road was another one, famous one, but the Strand
wouldn't look out of place in Miami with its Art Deco.
There's a lot to be said for it, because at a time when everybody is sitting home and just streaming their movies or whatever, and not so much driven to go out to the movies to see it. If you're in a more, I guess, theatrical space or somewhere that feels a wee bit interesting or whatever, such as like indie cinemas and like the Strand.
Well, if you think too, it's like watching something on the big screen. There's nothing like it. We're talking about even a movie like a kids' movie or an animated movie. You're not going to replicate that at home, right? So it's like, getting out of the house. Do you remember? It wasn't that long ago where we were forced to be in the house. It's like, get out of the house, go and do things, and certainly the likes of even standard movies or something a little bit different, like you were at recently. I think it's a big, big part. Get out.
Yeah.
Live your life outside the house.
Yeah. Local business that I was in recently, I'm going to go for a clothing shop called XL. There's one in Ards, one in Bangor. I don't think there's any others. Apologies if there is, but it sort of reminds me, nowadays you order clothes online sometimes, and it's always that game of when it comes, you try it on and you go, I don't even know if I really like that, or does that even fit me, or it's just different sizes, different things, and you just can't beat going into a clothes shop and actually trying something on. And it's a great shop. They've got some really good stuff. They have a kids section in there as well, and they do some nice lines, but it's always good service too, and the guys are very helpful.
I loathe shopping for clothes online.
It's crap.
It is like, I am a massive online proponent, obviously, of business, and I think every business should have some form of an online division. But if I'm looking for something, especially clothing, it's so difficult. I will also say that sizes now seem to be a thing. As in, I know women always had that struggle. They've had the struggle for a lot longer than men have had it, but it seems they've crept into men's sizes now as well. It's like
bit of a guessing game.
Yeah, you don't know what size is what, and that's not an excuse for an ever bulging waistline, which most people go, oh yeah, they're a small fit, But like recently, and I was talking about being away, but Europe, continental Europe, oh man, like what? You have no idea what sizes are, like none. They have no idea, and then they'll mention things like, oh, it's an Italian cut. What does that mean? Does that mean that all sizes have just gone out the window? All logic? Because it appears to be that if you say that's an Italian cut, that means 2 + 2 = 5. That's basically what you're saying. But I've shopped in XL as well, both stores, and it is great because you get to see, you kind of know what you're looking for, as in what type. You're looking for trousers, you're looking for a top, you're looking for a t-shirt, but you get to see things that you wouldn't normally see online.
Yeah.
And I always feel like there's a nice feeling about going to the high street, to a store, shopping for clothes. It's a really good feeling.
Yeah, and it's like you say, that even some of the brands you buy now, the sizes are different within that brand. A large in the likes of an All Saints shirt sometimes varies from a large in a different type of All Saints shirt or an All Saints t-shirt. And you're thinking, why not keep it the same, lads? Or it might even just say casual fit on it, but the casual fit's different from the other casual fit. So whenever you're buying online, you're taking that risk. And also, if I buy something online and it doesn't fit, I am the worst person in the world for taking it to send it back.
It's atrocious.
Well, as in you don't.
Yeah.
I'm
You just don't bother?
It's almost as atrocious as that woman in the Croatian shop that I was in who body shamed me. So to you, I'm glad I didn't buy your t-shirt.
Yeah, what is it about people in continental Europe with that? They can be quite cutting with their remarks on your persona.
Your Northern Irish potato-like physique.
I made a mistake of using reins once on our smallest child because she was mental and out of control whenever you took her
Like
for a
reins,
walk.
Was this last
like
week?
A reindeer.
You know
reins.
those little reins?
Yeah.
Yeah. Her mummy
they would not like them over there.
Oh my word! Her mother decided that these would be a good thing, and because she was crazy, and I was walking up the street, never really thought about it, and we were in Crete. This Greek woman, I honestly thought she was A, going to report me to social services back in the UK, and B, going to attack me.
Yeah.
She started making woofing noises at me.
Yeah.
I'd said, "Hey, it's not a dog." Okay, love.
Meanwhile, she's given her daughter of exactly the same age a glass of wine.
Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining in. We're going to go now because Michael is in a state of despair with his tiredness.
For goodness sake. It's like, I'm not that bad.
You really are.
Okay.
No, I'm only joking. He's a bit agitated. I think he's going to attack me. But no, thanks everybody for joining us. We will see you again next time on the Circle Back Show. Have a lovely week.
Bye.